Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Trekyards. He's Commander Cockings.
He's Adam Foley.
And we're about to go on a voyage today.
Well, I feel intrepid, so it makes sense to go on a voyage.
Well, yeah, we're doing an intrepid voyage. There you go. That's even better.
But what about your friend Bellerothon? Where's he?
What?
That's the other intrepid class we see in canon. The
Bellerothon. I wasn't aware of that. I knew there's a Bellerothon. I didn't think it was an intrepid class. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, there you go. Yay. He's
deep canon
behind
here.
The door. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we're talking about the season 3, episode 6, episode The Bounty of Picard, where we see a bounty of ships, a bountiful supply of ships, one of which is an iconic ship, the USS Voyager.
And it's nice because we saw this in a trailer, we pixel peeped, we guessed some stuff. In the credits, they've revealed a whole lot of stuff. And when we saw this initial shot, wow, look at all the cool things. But they could have been low-resolution stand-ins. What are they going to highlight? Who knows? Well, we should have known, Stuart, because, of course, 7 of 9 is the lead character. And so she wonderfully reminisces while cutting on the view screen. Although it's funny, because now I've looked at the other shot. They're the other side of the station, so she had to use the cameras from the station to see the view.
Yeah.
But that's fine. Here we are. Now, I want to hear what you think, obviously, but I know this ship really freaking well for my CG work. So I have a lot of thoughts on this and a lot of shots. More than I thought I was going to do. What did you think? And what do you think staring at it, the close-up?
I really wasn't that impressed with the Voyager, actually. It didn't look like Voyager to me. It seemed too rounded. It seemed like a game model, like a mobile game model at best. It didn't feel like Voyager. It didn't have like the sharper edges that it should have had. There was a few things that just felt off to me, especially the color. It seemed too dark a gray as well. Could just be the lighting. That's fine. I don't know. Something about it felt off. It was great to see it, but it definitely looked like a video game shot as opposed to, the other ships, which looked fantastic. This one just felt really off to me, and I'm not quite sure what it was.
So just despite being HD, you prefer how Voyager looked in SD in Voyager when it was a hero ship for the TV budget? Because that's the thing, guys. They built so many things here that obviously they're not gonna. No model is gonna have the budget to be built properly. None of these are hero models, unless we see them later on. But this one is pretty damn detailed for Picard. They tend to do lower, quicker models, which they look nice on the screen, but you can kind of tell. So my reaction to this, obviously, is it looks great, but it feels not great because the texturing is wildly off. I mean.
Yeah. Maybe that's what it was. Texturing, something just feels
because
wrong.
If it's an Intrepid, fine, but we know exactly what Voyager looks like. It's that beautiful duck egg blue. It's light. It's creamy. This is, if you zoom in, you can literally see the Aztecing grey generic plate lines, which are not on Voyager. So the texturing is entirely wrong, to the point of it doesn't feel like Voyager. But detail-wise, it's rather nice. And I do sneaking suspicion they might have either used the original model or something of the ilk, because it's pretty close. Now, I know what they've done to improve it if it was the original model, but we'll get into that a little bit later.
Yeah. The only thing that stands out to me is there's no registration number on the bottom, which there should be.
Yes.
I think that's one of the things that took me out of it instantly, because I was like, it should be right there. And it just, my eye went, it's not there, and then it kind of took in the rest of the ship and went, something's wrong.
Given these are meant to be the actual ships, that's just a mistake. And also, if you notice, it's not even on the nacelle. You can see the hole between the red lines where the registry should be. So they just flat out didn't do one. And also, it just feels odd as well to have the torpedo launchers actually emitting light, because in the show they're like very minimally red, kind of like the refit. There's a slight sense that they pop versus the darkness, but here they're just a light source. And that's because whoever did the shot obviously just thought, it's meant to have a luminosity value. I'll give it a light emitter, but it's not meant to look like that.
I think that's one of the things, again, that's made me think game. Because games would light them like that for sure. So
yeah, there's definitely as I said to you previously, this is the first time we've ever seen a Voyager in a Maya render engine with new artists versus how Lightwave did it back in the day to match the miniature look. So this is actually the modern look. And certainly, like, the deflector, I think looks worse. It's too bright. It's too vibrant, etc. But Stuart...
let's get into the comparison.
So this is the overall comparison. Of course, the actual studio model, I've matched lighting somewhat. How much better does real Voyager look?
Everything about it, just, like I said, harder like I don't know what it is about that bottom part, but the way it's lit looks like too curvy. I don't know. I don't know how to describe what I'm seeing. It just looks like too soft the lines, and then harsh popped out plating for the detailing and just.
So shape-wise, in general, it's very close. And this is one of the more detailed models in Picard, clearly. So I think they might have used the original model as a baseline, but because, as you said, where the aero shuttle is, all that detail is a texture, which means it's painted on an image. The image is projected onto a surface, and obviously this has been retextured from the ground up. None of that stuff carried over, which means they didn't have those lines. So clearly what they've done is they've just made them panel lines or even extruding plates, which they shouldn't be, so that you see the detail. So they've gone in and added it back in, which you would have to do if you're doing new textures. So good for them. I get, but they're too thick, and the fact that you see the shadow doesn't work. I mean, Trek is meant to be, for this era, smooth lines, crisp, clean, with only certain areas popping. One giant thing I noticed, which until you see it side by side, for some reason they've made the lower windows in front of the aero shuttle 4 or 5 times bigger.
Yeah, I noticed that.
I mean, I guess there's a space there, but they've just entirely changed it, filled it up, and those scale windows are correct. So now those windows are giant, and that implies it's not the real model. Because why would you go in and make them 3 times bigger?
Yeah, I mean, we've looked at some of the other ships that they show in this episode, and there are subtle differences, but they looked right to my eye. This one just didn't. And the more I'm looking, the more I'm seeing why. Like, yeah, those windows are quite large compared to what they actually should be. And even the detailing around the rim, like there's greeblies in there. There's a airlock at the front.
I'm glad you noticed it. We'll deal with that a little bit later, but that's definitely a huge omission they've put. We'll get into that. And you can see how the deflector's lit far nicer. The torpedoes are subtle. It's not meant to pop. It's not a light source. It's just I think it's just little like glowing red lights inside a tube. It just looks a lot nicer, I think, the original. And I've not even done glow passes. I've just done a pure render. This is just raw, etc. But the next view is up close, and yeah, as you said, the plates really stand out. The aero shuttle's pretty close, but you can already tell that this has been rebuilt entirely because the shapes don't line up. The head of the aero shuttle is different. It's not as long. Things don't line up quite properly.
I mean, they did a fairly good job. I mean,
they did a very good job. It's one of the best things in the show so far, but yet some of the choices they've made have made it look worse.
This seems like something more we'd see out of Lower Decks, though, in my opinion.
Or Prodigy. I mean, that could be a Prodigy shot, let's be honest.
Yes.
Like, it doesn't look photoreal. It doesn't look like Voyager. It looks like a cartoon.
Yes, Prodigy. When we compare ships from Lower Decks and stuff, especially, they got a lot of the details right, and some are pretty much accurate. They're just a little bit off to the eye, and that's exactly what this ship is to me. So yeah, really.
But it's still one of their best, and it does confuse me because, like I said, the new Intrepid model, very low detail. The Ilios, very low detail. All of the tiny greeblies on this would take time. I know it's a hero shot, but this model certainly implies it's going to come back later in the season because either they use the original model, which they might have just changed it a bit to save time, or it's a very, very good brand new model for what they're doing,
Well, the other thing that stands out to me here real quick is the escape, the lifeboats are sticking out in the actual one. Here they're just, they look like they're just slapped on the hull.
Yeah. And ironically, they got more detail back in the 1993 model.
Yeah, exactly.
The texture with numbers. I mean, this is the Hero TV model from the show, so obviously they got all the details. But the fact that a modern 2023 show can't match the details to look correct from a 1993 model, I know you haven't necessarily got the time, but like the model did exist. Right. One other thing to note is that they've actually changed something. They've actually made the landing leg doors now physical doors that extrude versus really subtle.
Yeah.
It's actually a difference. Actually a change.
Yeah, they just have the red like markings around them on the actual one, and this one they're like different color and they're
because you can see the line of the where the hull splits, but it's just in the hull. I mean, you don't notice them unless you see them. The next shot though is well done for picking up. I didn't know if you were going to. This is obviously then it quells is it the real model, because all of the greebling is gone. All of the sensors are gone on the edge of the hull, and there is no docking port on the front. I mean, maybe they accidentally turned off the layer with the greeblies, but certainly the docking port will be there at the front, and it's just not there. Neither is any registry, so that is like they entirely missed these details, and they're important for the ship's function. I know it's a museum ship now, but they entirely missed all those details.
Well, I'm just seeing now all the reasons my brain said that's not right. Instantly, the first time I saw it, I'm like, something about that's not right. But I'm just moving on, enjoying the moment, waiting to see what was next. Yeah.
Well, it's a lot of small things. And again, Voyager's there's a lot of reference on Voyager. There's the miniature. There's a lot of shots from the show. Rob Shun did a HD pass on the ship. Eagle Moss. I mean, there is no shortage of reference for this ship. If you cut the next shot, again, you see the nacelles. You see there should be the big registry there missing. And now the registry pennants are now extruding for some reason. They shouldn't be. They should be flat paint.
And the shape, the shape of the front of the nacelles.
I think it's different.
It's quite smudged. Like I said, it seems softer and just not as...
Because the real Intrepid nacelles are really freaking weird how the Basards integrate. It's very specific. And you can be forgiven for making a much simpler version, but they're really specific. And they've not matched that here. Or it's a real model and the angle's weird. But I'm not convinced. I'm getting cross thoughts here. And also it's interesting how the subtlety of... You get pure white windows that are brighter versus subtle windows with colour and depth. One looks like a video game to me, despite being a 22-year newer model.
Yeah.
That's so fascinating. Like, it's great, but...
Yeah, like I said, either video game or animation. It just felt off compared to all the other ones because they were pretty good. Yeah, and my brain instantly saw it. I don't know why. That's the only one that didn't quite catch me.
So yeah, that's the stuff that we saw because that's what we here at Trekyards are doing. It's still great. It's just we can compare and hold them to the fire kind of directly. But I mean, it is the canon. So, et cetera, et cetera. But still, great job. Just, I do know me some Voyager. I've done a lot with this model. I know her well.
Yeah. Please like the video, guys. Comment down below what you thought about seeing this ship. Yes, it was a very emotional moment, but take your mind out of the emotion for a second and look at the technical aspects. What do you think of this model versus how it should look? And let us know in the comment section down below. Also, put on your logical cap as well and hit that subscribe button and the notification bell icon and join us for the lives where you get to join us in conversations and hang out and have your voice heard as well.
And support us if you can in all we do here. It's all free content, free at the point of entry. Want you to enjoy everything, learn and dissect and appreciate the good work and notice the other work. Support us if you can monthly on Patreon or join the channel on YouTube. There's a join button. You click it. Need I say more? Because there's notes. You just follow the notes. I don't have to say any more. Or one-time donation at trekyards@hotmail.com. That is the PayPal. Again, whatever you want to give. Or one-time, maybe regularly one-time. That's up to you. Super chats. During any live, any amount. You have your say. You get things in the show. And you make your voice heard. Or super thanks in any video. If you love the Voyager, if you made the Voyager model and you want to put in $5 saying thanks for noticing what we didn't do, super thanks down below. Everything's appreciated and we thank you for being here with us.
So until next time, he is kind of cocking this.
It's kind of Foley. Bye guys.
Bye everybody.